Jake Jake told me that I'm the one in the line, in
Like
the cell.
labor.
Low skill labor.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, guys.
No.
Let's continue for the second part today. So
Can't even
Just-
the point.
just one
Not even the word skill.
topic that we're gonna do it together. That would be the design of the product layout, or we call line balancing. If you look in cost view, I already posted the case study, the Toshiba notebook case study. That case study involved directly to this topic about the line balance. So you need to design the product layout for that Toshiba notebook. Okay. And before we doing the design the product layout, right? Firstly, please keep in mind that the product layout is used for the continuous or repetitive processes. So it means the objective of the product layout is that we try to make the process is more fast, right? And it's like have the rapid flow produced with a high rate of output, something like that. Okay. So let's think in the based on the common sense, just like the bottleneck operation that we studied last week. If you remember that last week when we talked about the bottleneck operation, we said that okay, if you have the bottlenecks, the idea that we're gonna handle that problem is that we try to make each station using the same equal time, right? Yeah. So it's quite the same for the line balancing, right? Because the idea of design of the product layout, as I mentioned, that the objective is to make the process is faster, have the rapid flow, and provide with a high ready output. So it means that if we want that outcomes, it means we need to design this product layout in such a way that each workstation have approximately equal time requirement. So if each workstation, you have the very closely about equal time to use, so it means it's gonna make your process is very smooth, very fast, something like that. So the idea in this case we're gonna design, right, by assigning the tasks into each workstation in order to make each workstation having approximately equal time requirement. Okay. Before we do the design of this line balancing, you need to understand the first terminology is about the cycle time. The cycle time is the maximum time allowed at each workstation to complete its set of tasks on a unit. Or in the easy one is that the time that requires each workstation to produce 1 unit of your output. So, if you have your friend or whether you work in the Japanese car companies such as the Toyota, cycle time actually is equal to the takt time. It's quite the same thing. But, we can see here. Suppose that I have this kind of task. Right? I have 5 tasks. Task number 1 have the time requirement 0.1 minute. Number 2 0.7 minute. Number 3 1 minute. Number 4 0.5 minute, and the last one 0.2 minute. If I have each task stay in different workstation, so it means 1 task for 1 workstation. So now I have 5 workstations, right? Can you tell me about the cycle time of this? Right now, for this figure, I have 5 tasks. Each task I assign for 1 workstation. So it means right now I have 5 workstations as well. So can you tell me about the cycle time for this process? Cycle time is the maximum time that allow each workstation to produce 1 unit of the output. So can you tell me about the cycle time for this? One minute? Yes. 1 minute. Okay, we have 5 tasks, right? And let's say that one rectangular here is represented for the workstation. So I assign the first task to first station, the second task to the second station, the third task to the third station, the fourth one to the fourth station, and the last one to station number 5. This is my process. So the first station, since I have this only one task, so it means in order to produce 1 unit of the output from the first station, I need 0.1 minute. Right. For the second one, I need 0.7. The third one, I need 1 minute. But since it's connected together as a process, so the second time is the maximum time, right, that you're gonna use, right, for produce 1 unit of the output of this process. So it means 1 minute, right? Because if you said, oh, I think the cycle time is 0.5, this one cannot be done because you need 1 minute to produce output. So the cycle time, maximum time that you can have to let each of the stations produce 1 unit of the output is 1 minute. Okay? If I change the question quite a bit, if I install or assign these 5 tasks into one workstation, so can you tell me about the cycle time for that? Five tasks in one workstation. How about cycle time? Just 2.5. Right? Because you need to complete these 5 tasks in order to produce one output. So you need 2.5 minutes. Okay? So this is the concept. Okay? So if you look at this, it's just like the product layout. Remember that product layout, we have the workstation connect together at the step line. Right? Right now, we're going to try to design of this product layout. How many tasks that we can assign to each workstation. But the key main idea that we try to make each workstation using very approximately closing time of time deployment very equally, right, in order to the process 1 unit of the output. Another thing that you need to understand is about how can be calculated. You know about cycle time. Cycle time is I'm using CT represented for the cycle time. The formula is just, we have one formula. The output rate equal to the OT. OT is come from the operating time per day divided by the cycle time. This is the formula. Output rate equal to the operating time divided by cycle time. But since now we are designing the product layout, so we need to specify the output that we want. Okay. So D stands for the design output rate that we want. So if we substitute design output rate to this output rate, so it means that you're going to have the cycle time actually equal to the operating time divided by design output rate. Don't be confused that now we are designing. So if we're designing, I need to specify, okay, what kind of output rate that I want. But we call the design output rate. So the cycle time is come from operating time divided by design output rate. Okay. And what happened from this one that I just asked you? The maximum cycle time in this case equal to 2.5. Because it's going to happen in the case that we are assigning 5 tasks into one workstation. The minimum cycle time in this case is going to be equal to 1 minute. That's going to happen in the case that we assign each task for each workstation. So if I'm using this formula, right, design the output rate equal to the operating time divided by the cycle time. What happens if I suppose that we working with the rate 8 hours a day. So 8 hours a day. So it means that if we convert to a minute, it's going to be 480 minutes. We're using 480 minutes. This is for operating time. This is operating time, OT. With the minimum cycle time, 1 minute. This is cycle time. You have the output rate, 480 units per day. If the case that you have 5 tasks stay in one workstation, okay, you have operating time 480, cycle time is 2.5 minutes, so then you can have the output rate 192 units per day. So what does it mean in this case? It means that if you want to design, remember, if you want to design, you need to specify the design output rate that you want. I show you that, okay, this is a minimum cycle time that's possible. This is a maximum cycle time that's possible. So if we convert in the term of output rate that's possible is going to range from 192 units to 480 units. So it means that you cannot specify the design output rate. You cannot specify the design output rate more than 480 or less than 192. Okay. Because if you say that, okay, I'm going to design the line balancing, I want my output rate for this process 500 units. What happened? If you have 500, right? Design output rate is 500. Operating time is 480, remember? You have less than 1 minute. That's impossible. Because we see that, okay, the minimum cycle time that's possible for this 5 tasks is 1 minute, right? Or in the case that, okay, I want the design output rate to be 180. So then, let's substitute this one 180. Open time is 480. You have cycle time more than 2.5 minutes. It doesn't make sense, right? It's expensive because you want the time more than all the combination 5 tasks into one workstation. So my point is that now we're going to design. The first one that you need to understand is to calculate the cycle time. But the way that we calculate the cycle time, we're using operating time divided by design output rate. I just show you that, okay, in the case of this example, minimum cycle time is 1 minute, maximum is 2.5 minutes. If I using this formula to calculate the output rate, just simple one, I'm going to have 480 and 192. So it means that I cannot assume or want the desired output rate to be the one that's more than 480 or less than 192. It's impossible and it doesn't make sense. Okay, let's say that I'm using quite a simple thinking that, okay, I want, the design output rate to be 480. So if we want design output rate to be 480, operating time is 480 minutes. Design output rate is 480. It's divided together. I have cycle time to be 1 minute. Now I'm saying that, okay, I'm going to design by using the concept of cycle time to 1 minute. Okay, what happened? So in this case, right, once you calculate the cycle time, what next? What next? You need to estimate the number of minimum for your workstation. And minimum is represented for the minimum number of workstation. Don't forget that this subscript is minimum, so it means it's just minimum, okay? For example, if you calculate n minimum equal to 4, let's say, it doesn't mean that you can use in 4, you can use 5 or 6, something like that. And minimum is calculated by using the sum of the task time of all your tasks divided by cycle time. But in the term of design and calculation, we're gonna rounding up in all the cases that happen. For example, if I say that, okay, in this case I have 5 tasks, my sigma t or sum of my task time is 0.1 plus 0.7 plus 1 plus 0.5 plus 0.2, right? We have 2.5 We have 2.5. But the second time, as I mentioned that I'm using 1 minute. So 2.5 divided by 1 minute, I have n minimum equal to 2.5 workstation. In practical, we always rounding up. So we're going to have n minimum equal to 3. Right? So it means that when you try to assign the tasks into workstation, you need at least 3 workstations. The next one is the detail of precedent diagram that you need to know before you're going to decide the line balancing. It's just like the relationship between each task, just like the sequence that which task they're going to perform before another one, something like that. In this case, let's say that 5 tasks, I have this kind of precedent diagram, right? For example, in this case, you need to complete A before you do B, boy. You need to complete both C and B before you start D dog. You need to complete D dog before you start E, something like that. Right? It's just like showing the sequence for each task. We know this one. We estimate cycle time. We estimate n minimum. Then you can design the line balancing. So this is a step of designing the line balancing. So firstly, you determine the cycle time and minimum number of workstation. So cycle time and minimum calculation actually. The second step is to make assignment to the workstation in order, right? Starting with workstation number 1, and we assign workstation moving from the left to the right hand side through using follow the concept from the precedent diagram sequence. But you need to have the rule or the criteria to assigning the task. For our class, the rules I'm gonna specify for you. But in practical, you need to specify your own. Sometimes, just like the several rules that can be the rule for assigning the task. For example, for sure that we using the sequence from the precedent diagram for sure. Right. But if you have something equally, you need to have the rule for assigning the task, such as maybe some people let's think that okay, I'm gonna assign the tasks that have more processing time first, something like that, or more following tasks first. Right? If you have equally, you're gonna assign the tasks that have the more time before others, something like that. So in this case, it's just like the way that you're gonna know, right? Like the sequence that you're gonna assign as a priority of the task. But please keep in mind that every time that you assign the task to the workstation, you have each workstation, the time for each workstation maximum equal to the cycle time. So sometimes you're gonna have the time left that you cannot assign any time to that because it's idle time. If you have a lot of idle time, it's not good. Right, so it means that you require more workstation, right? So let's see about the example. It's gonna really understand about this one. Okay. As I mentioned, that we try to assign each task into the workstation, right? But every time that you assign to each workstation, right? Each workstation you have the time equal to cycle time. Then you subtract the time from the cycle time. And then you assign again and again until you cannot assign to that workstation anymore. You move to the next workstation. The rule that you're gonna using is depend, right? For me, in our class, especially in the exam, I will specify for you. So for example, in this case, I'm gonna assign the task with the longest task time first. If the task has the similar or equally longest task time, I will assign the one that have the greatest number of followable tasks first, something like that. You continue to assign the tasks into each workstation until you finish. And then we're going to completely finish by compute the measurement that is about the efficiency or the percent of idle time. So the idea is that in practical, the rule can be different, right? So you have the different heuristic rule that you're going to use, but finally the one that provide, the one that should be the one that you're going to use should be the one that have the higher efficiency of measurement. Right? So we're going to calculate the percent efficiency and or the percent of idle time. So the option that provide you with a high rate of efficiency should be the one that you should apply in the rule. So for example, in the rule, maybe you have the heuristic rule, let's say forces that are different, but after you finish apply these forces into the design of line balancing, finally you can measure each forces by using the formula of efficiency. The set of the rule that provide a higher efficiency should be the one that you should apply, something like that. So let's see the example number 1. So we can start with the easy one. Suppose that I have 5 tasks just like this again. Each task has the time something like this: 0.1, 0.7, 1 minute, 0.5 minute, and 0.2 minute. Yes, we know that we need to assume the desired output rate in order to calculate the cycle time. But in this case, we know that maximum cycle time is 2.5 minutes, minimum is 1 minute. So this the output rate that's possible range from 190 to 480. Let's say that I assume that the output rate that I want is 480. So that it means I'm going to use the cycle time equal to 1 minute. I calculate a minimum using this formula. I have 2.5 stations, so I have to rounding up. So I use 3 workstations. This is my precedent diagram. So I'm going to design the line balancing by using the rule that I'm going to assign the task in order of the most number of followers first. So if the one that has the higher number of followers, I'm going to assign that task first. For example, let's starting with the workstation number 1. Workstation number 1. For sure that I'm just starting. So the time that I have for this workstation is equal to cycle time 1 minute. Then, which task that eligible to assign? In this case, we have tasks A and C. Why? Because these 2 tasks has no immediate precedent task before, so it can start immediately. So these both eligible. So eligible A and C. What next? We assign task A. Why? Because when you look at the precedent diagram, task A has 3 follower tasks, B, D, and E. But for task C, it just has 2 followers, D and E. So the rule that I use right now, I'm going to assign the task that provide the higher number of followers first. So I'm going to assign A. A has the time 0.1 minute. So I assign A. So then the remaining is 0.9. From 1 minute, this one 0.1, right? So I have remaining 0.9. I'm using 0.9 starting again. What's the next one? I assign A already. So the next that should be eligible should be C. Why C, not B? Because B you require 1 minute. But right now we have space for workstation 1 is just 0.9 minute. So B is not eligible. You have only C eligible. So then you assign C. C is 0.7. What next? C 0.7. So you assign C. You have 0.9. C using 0.7. You have remaining 0.2. You carry 0.2 to start again. Do you have any tasks that eligible for this? No, right? Because B is 1 minute. The dog is impossible because you are not finished B yet. So none. So then this means that for the first workstation, you have time remaining is 0.2. Point 2 is called idle time for workstation 1. We have point 2, time that we cannot do anything. Right. Next, we need to follow by the workstation number 2. Once again, starting with the cycle time equal to 1 minute. Which one that eligible? Now you assign C already, right? A already. The one that eligible should be B boy, right? And B is using 1 minute, so then you assign B. You don't have any time remaining. Idle time is 0. You need to move to another workstation, right? Go to station number 3. Starting with cycle time 1 minute. Which one eligible? Right now is the dog because you just assign B. Right? You just assign B. The dog is eligible. The dog using 0.5 minutes. So then you assign the dog 0.5 minutes. So they have the remaining 0.5 to be starting again. And the last one is E. Right? E is using 0.2. So we have remaining 0.3. So this workstation, station number 3, you have idle time equal to 0.3. So in this case, you can see that I use just 3 workstations based on the rule that I'm going to assign the task that has number of follower, the highest number of follower first. I use 3 workstations, so then I can calculate personnel idle time and efficiency. Right. Personnel idle time by sum up the idle time from all the workstations. Right, divided by n actual, this means number of workstations that you're using, actual one, multiply with cycle time, and then you multiply 100. For example, in this case, idle time for this per cycle is 0.5, right? So this one you can use this one for 0.5, and actual is 3. Cycle time is 1. Okay. So then you calculate by, 500 divided by 3, I don't know. Not 50 divided by 3. Right? You have around 16.67, right? And this one, efficiency is 100% minus percent of idle time. Sorry. So efficiency is going to be 100% minus 16 of 67%. Can have around 83.33%. So this is the way that we calculate. So if you're using the different heuristic rule, maybe you're using the, okay, I'm going to assign the task that has the highest or longest time first. So maybe you have the different result. Then you come up with the calculate the measurement right here, just like this. So the rule that provides the highest efficiency should be the one that you should apply. But this is just the first concept. It's just not that difficult. We need to go to another example. Another example is not that difficult, but it's help a lot for better understanding. But for the exam, we have another degree of this. For example, how about operating time? But you have the coffee break, lunch break. We have like the downtime of the machine. So the time is not directly to tell you, but we need to calculate something. Okay, we're gonna do another example. Is very easy, but help you a lot. This is a list of, before we go to another example, this is a list of some heuristic rule that people usually use, right? Assign the task in the order of both following tasks first, and then you can use another one is assign the task in order of the greatest positional weight. First is mean that make the sum up of the processing time, right? So the longest time, it should be the one that you assign first, something like that. This is the popular heuristic rule that people usually use, right? Anyway, example number 2 it's going to be the example that I recommend you to follow, especially when you're doing the exam, when you do on the table or something like that. So it will help you a lot. So we have this one. It said that, okay, using the information containing in the table shown, do each the following. So the first one, draw the precedent diagram. Second one, assume that you have 8-hour workday, compute the cycle time needed to obtain the output of 400 units per day. The third one, determine the minimum number of workstations required. The fourth one, assign the task to workstation using this rule. Assign the task according to the requested number of following tasks first. In the case of a tie, using a triwave of assigning the task with the longest processing time first. And the last one, compute the result by calculate the percent of idle time and efficiency. Okay, this is the information that we have. We have 8 tasks. We know about the immediate follower. Be careful in the exam. Look carefully. Maybe I tell you immediate precedent, not follower. So it's reverse. Something like that. Okay, this one is tell you about immediate follower. You know, task time in a minute. So in this case, okay, the question one, you can know that in this case, right? If I let you to drawing the precedent diagram, can you? It's not that difficult, right? You know about the sequence, right? A followed by B, right? B followed by E, C followed by D dot followed by F, E followed by F followed by G, G followed by H, and H is the last one. So in this case, if drawing the precedent diagram, you're gonna have something like this. A, and then you go to B, B to E. Another route is C to D, and then from D and E, you're gonna have starting F, and then from F, you go to G, and from G, you go to H. And then you specify the time requirement for each task. So this is the precedent diagram. Next, I'm gonna calculate the cycle time that we're gonna use to design this line balancing. We know that cycle time equal to what? Cycle time equal to operating time divided by design output rate. Design output rate. The problem specific for you that they want the output rate of 400 units per day. Operating time, you know that workday 8-hour workday, right? So if we convert to a minute, you're gonna have 480 minutes per day as operating time. But you want this output rate to be 400. So then you're going to have 480 divided by 400, you have 1.2 minutes as a cycle time. Then we're going to calculate for N minimum. N minimum. We know that N minimum is come from sigma t, or the summation of task time divided by cycle time. Sigma t is what? 3.8. This comes from what? You just sum up all the task time here, from task A to task H. From task A to task H, you combine task time together. 0.2 plus 0.2 plus 0.8 plus 0.6 plus 0.3 plus 1 plus 0.4 plus 0.3. Sigma t, you have 3.8 minutes. Cycle time, you just completely finish 1.2 minutes, right? So then you're using 3.8 divided by 1.2, you have 3.17 station. But as I mentioned, we always rounding up. So minimum the workstation, we can use it 4. We use it 4. The next one, I encourage you to use the table just like this, especially for the heading. So let's start in that, okay. We start with the workstation number 1. Again, workstation number 1. Firstly, we have the time equal to cycle time 1.2. So which time that eligible? Yes, we have A and C. Why we have A and C? Because both A and C, we can start immediately. We have no precedent task before A and C, so A and C eligible. And then we have will fit. Will the eligible task fit into the workstation? Right. Yes, it will fit both of them. Why? Because right now when we have the time is 1.2 minutes, right? We have time 1.2 minutes. And for A is using just 0.2 minutes, C is 0.8, both we can assign to the workstation for sure, so it will fit for both. Right? And what next? We assign A. Why we assign A? Because the rule that we're gonna use, we're gonna assign the task that has a greater number of followers first. If you have it equally, we're gonna assign the task that has the longest time first. In this case, A, we have 5 followers, B, E, F, G, H. But C, we have just 4 followers, D, F, G, H. So then we assign A. A using 0.2, right? A using 0.2, so then A using 0.2. So then we have remaining 1. Again, we bring 1 to starting again. Which time that eligible? Right now it's B and C. Why? Because we assign A already, right? We have B and C eligible. Will fit together as well, right? Because we have time remaining 1 minute, B is just 0.2, C is 0.8, both will fit. Which one that we're gonna assign? We should assign C. Why? Because the first rule, both B and C, they have the same number of follower tasks. They have 4 number of follower tasks. There's time. So if their time, the break time, we're gonna using the second rule. We're gonna assign the one that have the longest time first. B we have just 0.2, but C is 0.8. C has the longest time, so then we assign C. Right? So here we're gonna assign C 0.8. So the time remaining is 0.2. 0.2 being to be starting again. What would be eligible? B and D in this case. Why B and D? Because we assign C already. We have B and D should be eligible. How about will fit? Will fit just B, right? Because we have remaining 0.2. The dog is not will fit, right? So will fit just B. And then we assign B 0.2. We have time remaining 0.2, so finally we don't have any idle time for the first workstation. Then we move to the second workstation, starting with the second time again 1.2 minutes. So which one eligible? We just assign B boy. Which one eligible? Should be E and D, right? E and D eligible. And E and D also will fit as well, because we have time remaining 1.2 minutes. Which one that we should assign? The dog, right? Because the first two both are equally. They have the same number of follower tasks. But for the second rule, the dog has the longest time. So then we assign the dog. The dog is 0.6. We assign the dog. We then have the time remaining 0.6 as well, because we subtract 0.6 from 1.2. We bring 0.6 to starting again. Which one that eligible at this time? Since we just assign the dog, should be E, right? Should be E, only one E. And E will fit as well, because E requires 0.3, but we have time remaining 0.6. So then we assign E 0.3. We have time remaining 0.3. We bring 0.2 start again. Which one that eligible? Next should be F. Right? We assign E already, right? Should be F. But F is not will fit. Because we have the time remaining 0.3, F requires 1 minute. So we cannot assign F. So then for the second workstation, we have the idle time equal to the 0.3. We move to the third workstation. Again, at first starting with the second time 1.2 minutes. Which one that eligible should be F? F will fit for sure, because we have the plenty time required in 1.2. We assign F 1 minute, we have time remaining 0.2. We bring 0.2 to start again. Which one that it should eligible after F should be G, right? But G requires 0.4 minutes. So we have the remaining time 0.2. So G is not built in, right? So then we have idle time for the third workstation, just 0.2. We move to the fourth one, starting with the cycle time 1.2, which one is equal to G. G will fit for sure because we have the pending time 1.2 minutes. We assign G 0.4, we have remaining 0.8. Then we bring 0.8 to starting again, and the last one should be H, right? Eligible, and H will fit because H requires 0.3. We then assign H 0.3. We have time remaining 0.5. So 0.5 is the idle time for the fourth workstation. So finally, in this case, you can see we have 4 workstations. If I try to calculate the idle time, percentage idle time, right, I'm gonna have just like this, right? Total time is 1 minute for idle time, right? That's come from 0 plus 0.3 plus 0.2 plus 0.5, we have 1 minute. We're using 4 workstations. Cycle time is 1.2. We multiply with 100. I have percent of idle time 20.83. Efficiency is 100 minus 20 of 83 is 79.15%. And this is the station that should be. So in this case, mean that let's imagine that if you arrange layout just like this, it's gonna have the efficiency around 17%. So for one station, let's say that you have worker limit. So worker gonna do all of these tasks. So let's say that I have one worker here, one worker here, one worker here, and one worker here. They're gonna do just like it. It's gonna make the flow have the efficiency 79.17%. So for your case study, if you look for the case study, you have a lot of tasks. And you're gonna develop that table. You're gonna show me about the solution. You're gonna calculate, right? Efficiency, something like that. Okay. Finally, once again, for the bottleneck operation, similar to the previous week, you know that, okay, in this case, workstation number 3 is a bottleneck because it requires more time, right? Right, so 2 minutes to produce 1 unit of output. Right, so in this case, if I try to calculate cycle time, how can we do? Operating time, such as I'm using 1 minute. That's only 1 hour, so I have 60 minutes, right? And the cycle time in this case should be 2 minutes, right? So 60 divided by 2 minutes, so that's why you have the output rate for this process equal to 30 units per hour. Right? In this case, the minimum cycle time that should be equal to 2 minutes. Cycle time to 2 minutes, operating time is 60 minutes, so that you have output rate 30 units per hour. Right? But if you have the parallel workstation, it's gonna help you a lot. Right? It's gonna double of the flow for this process. From 30 units per hour, it's gonna be 60 units per hour. By adding 1 more. Similar to the case study that you're going to present today, right? You see about the bottleneck, right? You need to add something, right, to make it better, right? And last one, right? This one is just the idea to show you. We have the design of the product layout already. How about the process layout? I bring this concept to show you, but probably not include the exam, hopefully. Right? We have 6 locations. Remember that process layout is the layout that we arrange at the department. Remember? During department, cleaning department, painting department, something like that. We have 6 locations, right? Location A, B, C, D, E, F. We have work center to assign 6 work center as well, right? But how can we decide for this process layout? So we want to know that, okay, which workstation should assign to which location, something like that. This is the idea of the design for the process layout. So the information requirements in the case that you want to design the process layout, you need to know about the list of the department that you have. You need to know about the projection of workflow between the department. And the last one, you need to know about the distance between the location. So for example, if I use this example, it's quite easy to show you. I have just 3 locations, location A, B, and C. Information that I have is that location A and location B, distance between A and B is 20 meters, right? 20 meters. A and C is 40 meters, and B and C is 30 meters. I know about the workflow between departments as well. If you have a department 1 and department 2, right, stay together, you're gonna have the workflow 30 units. 1 and 3, 1 and 70 units. 2 and 3, 1 unit. So right now, I would like to know that which department should locate in which location. So very simple that, right, the heuristic rule, very simple, is that the location that have their very high workflow need to be stay together, right? And that department should locate them in the location that have the very short distance. Okay. So in this case, we know that, okay, department 1 and 3, they produce a very high, or the highest workflow equal to 170 units. So now we know for sure that 1 and 3 should be, right next together, 1 and 3 for department. But 1 and 3, we don't know that it's gonna be 1 at A and 3 at B, or 1 at B and 3 at A, right? Because A and B is shortest one, 20 meters, and 1 and 3 is provide the highest workflow, 170. So 1 and 3 for sure is need to stay together. But we don't know that 1 is going to be A and 3 is going to be B, or 1 going to be B and A and 3 going to be B, something like that. We need to consider the next one. The next workflow is 100. This comes from 2 and 3. So then we know that 2 and 3 need to stay from B to C. And in this case, based on this requirement, we know for sure, right, that A and B shortest distance should be workflow pairing between 1 and 3, because this provides workflow 120. The next one, B and C, the next shorter one is 30 meters. Should be 2 and 3 provide the workflow 100 meters. So in this case, if you consider from this, you can see that we should have 1 at A and 3 at B, right? And then for 2 at C, because 1 and 3 provide 170. Right, is located from A to B is 20 meters. 3 and 2 is provide 100 workflow unit, and is located between B and C. B and C is provide the next shortest distance, 30 meters. So this is the solution. So then, if you would like to calculate the cost, let's say that we assume that cost per meter to move any load, 1 unit is $1. So you can see, if we move right from number of load between 1 and 2, right? It's just 30 workload. Location is from A to C, 40 meters. So then we can have the cost is around $1,200. How about department 1 and 3 is provide workload together 170. The location is from A to B, 20 meters. So cost per for this pair of the department is about $3,400. And the last one, right, cost of 2 and 3 is provide work of $100. Is carried between this set of B and C, that would be 30 meters. So the cost is $20,000. So when we combine all costs together, we're gonna have $7,600, something like that. Just the idea, right? So just want you to know that the idea of the process layout is that we try to pairing the department that have the workflow highest together with on the location that have the shortest distance. Okay. So for the live balancing, this one you're gonna do in the case study. Okay. And one problem for sure for your exam, right? I will let you to decide for live balancing. Okay. The problem is that it's not that difficult, but sometimes we have the mistakes. I don't know why. Sometimes because this one you write down is wrong in the first time. So I try to find what the hell is this, so why you cannot get this, go off and find out that yes, you have this mistake. Okay? Okay, let's make the presentation for the case of Stauffenberg chocolate maker. It's very interesting case study. Okay, I want you to do this one.
He's going to have to explain this to everyone. Are you presenting? Yeah. Opening? Take the microphone a little bit away from your mouth. No. Just this. Okay. It's very loud.
Oh, thanks for information.
Good information.
Yeah. Looks professional, right?
I'm saving everyone's ears. Great. Can you help me now? What is the difference between this being 1 minute and 2.5 minutes?
1 minute is the task. That's 1 minute task stage. Task time in the working station. But 2.5.
Good evening and Happy New Year.
The whole process.
Today we are going to talk about to make the process in chocolate factory more efficiently, because operation management is to create high level efficiency within organization. So today we are going to analyze the process in detail, and then we are going to offer a solution how to reduce the time and then cost at the same time. So let me talk about the project today, and then Mr. Yasuo, we're gonna deliver a present. So you just opening.
Okay, let me just briefly explain about company overview first. Stauffenberg is U.S. chocolate maker, founded in 1996 by two guys. They committed themselves to producing chocolate of the highest quality possible from the finest cacao beans available. So in the U.S. chocolate industry, there are two segments. One is mass market, $14 billion US market size, and 75% of it dominated by three companies: Hershey's, Mars, and Nestle. And most of the mass market consumption is milk chocolate, and which accounts for 70% of the total sales of chocolate in the US market. But it used to be 90% in 1980s. It decreased because the dark chocolate with less sugar and higher concentration of cacao is getting more popular. And the other segment is a premium market. which Scharfenberger is in the premium market is growing 15 to 20% per year, and market size is $1.2 billion US, and most of the products are dark chocolate. Scharfenberger's sales was 1.1 million in 1999 and 10 million in 2004. And this year, it's expected it's going to reach 15 million. And they had opened their own 5 retail stores in Berkeley, San Francisco, Hillsburg in California, and 2 stores in Europe. They're producing these products. Most of them are dark chocolate. Like unsweetened is a 99% cacao, and extra dark 82%, bittersweet 70%, semi-sweet and mocha mint nibby bars are 62%, and milk chocolates are 41%. And they also produced a special custom brand for the Trader Joe's, 60% of cacao products, and which Trader Joe's is the largest customer, which represents 20% of their total sales. Each product using the different brand of beans, of 7 to 9 beans. In addition to 5 their own retail stores, they also sell their products through the 4,000 retail outlets in the US, including the Trader Joe's and Whole Foods.
How can you remember the detail of the case study? The number. Wow.
Okay. Now you know the overview of the company, right? We know that the company are facing the very high growth demand, and they have many kinds of chocolate that range between the cacao and other ingredients. And we explain about that in later. So let's go over the questions that we want to solve again. So the first one, that do we want to add the bone meal to the system? That's why we want to add. And the second one is, in addition to adding the bone meal to the system, what else do we need in order to increase the capacity up to 150%? And what is the most concern related to that increasing? Okay, let me explain the step of making the chocolate. There are many 7 machines related to making the chocolate, and they are processed in a different time and different capacity. But I will not explain everything. I just point out the first one. Take a look at the bean cleaner. This one is the most easy way to process the input. So we convert all the detail in the case study and compare it into the same unit, which is 2 minutes. You will see that in the bean cleaner it has 12.8 minutes per minute, and it has capacity up to 1 chip. But when compared with the conche has the lowest capacity, which is 0.8 kilogram per minute, and the chip of the conche is 1 chip, but it takes 24 hours for the 1 chip. It takes the whole day. That means we cannot add the chip to this conche. However, the rest of the machine, we can add the chip if we want to improve the capacity. So now we calculate the maximum capacity for each month of the current situation of the company. It turns out that the conche has the bottleneck that has the lowest capacity while compared with the other machine. In this situation, we use the capacity, the average capacity at the 50 hours. That means the time that it will take to process or the chocolate with the other ingredient, because in the product of this company has a wide range of products that contain not only cacao 100% but also other ingredients. Okay, so in this case, let me explain this, because the conjecture work parallel to take the two input from the melanger, and when we add the bone meal, right, from the we call this one as the whole unit, and we calculate the output, the new output of this machine to be 3.1 kilogram per minute, because adding the conjecture to the system will help reduce the time from 40 to 60 in average to 15 hours. So it will dramatically improve the capacity of the conjecture. And the bone meal is used to help grinding the particle from 1000 to 25 micron easily. Okay. So the next one, you see that now the conjecture is not the bottleneck anymore, because we already add the bone meal and the capacity is increased up to 134. And the next bottleneck is melanger. The reason why we want to improve the conjecture, because the conjecture already working for 24 hours. So when we can increase the capacity at the conjecture, now we can add chip to the another machine, or even add more machine if we want to improve to match with the high new capacity. So let's move to the question two, that how we can improve our maximum capacity to 150%.
So let's wrap up. Firstly, the current capacities of the company to do the semi-sweet chocolate will be around 40,322 kilograms per month, and the bottleneck is the conch. So to be able to increase the capacities of the company, we have been introduced bottleneck to the productions, and also the capacity is increased to around 45,000 kilograms per month. So, and the bottlenecks have been changed from the conch to the melanger. So to be answered the questions that how to increase the capacities of the company to be around to 150% for the productions of the semi-sweet chocolate, what is the thing we have to increase? So we have used the numbers of the current capacity, which is around 40,000 kilograms per month, and to meet the 150% capacity, so the number will be around 100,000 kilograms per month. So to meet that capacities, the additional change that our group has been made will be made on the roaster, winnower, melanger, tempering, and molding. For the roaster, we decide to increase the shift to be 3 shifts. The winnower, we decide to increase the shift to be two shifts. While for the melanger, we will increase both shifts and the numbers of the machine. The shift will be increased to 3 shifts, while the number of machine will be 2. For the tempering, we decide to increase to be 3 shifts, and the molding will be increased only the numbers of the machine to be 2 molding machine. With this addition, so our capacities will be increased to around 133,000 kilograms per month. However, with the increase, it showed to be approximately around 250% increase in the capacities. The reasons why we have to increase to this capacity is because if we decide to increase to be around only 150%, it will show on the bottlenecks of the molding, because when we increase the capacities of other machine or the chips, other machine capacities will be increased to be around 130,000 kilograms per month for most of the machine. So we don't want to waste the capacities that other machine has been done. So we want to utilize the most of the output that other machine do. So our group made the decisions that we want to increase the capacity to be around 230%. And our capacity will be at this amount. With these expansions, we also have total of 4 concerns. As I have mentioned before, that our capacity has increased a lot, so they will be sure that there will be excess capacity to the company. Moreover, because some of the machine will require the worker to work 3 shifts, that means the machine need to work for all day long, which is 24 hours. And also with that thing, the company needs to pay higher wage to the workers. And when the company needs to buy more machine, the company needs to have the higher expense from the buying new machines too. However, with this thing, we have decided, because the rising in the supply a lot, so we have to increase our demands to the company's product too. So we think that the company should actively do the marketing strategies to generate more demand too, so that all the demand will meet the supply. Thank you.
Yeah, all right, good job. So actually, can you go to the slide that show all the flow of the products? Yeah, that one. Okay. So actually, it's quite the same solution that I think, but even though the number is quite different in some machine, but it's okay because I don't know about the detail that you calculate. But actually, yes, it's correct that at first, actually, you should investigate about the capacity for each machine, right? And you can say that the constraint is like the one that provide the bottlenecks along with the roster. Actually, the roster is the one that quite close together. And then yes, you try to increase, right, the number, right? Yeah, of constraint. But you didn't mention at first that when you increase this one, you're gonna add some more chip for another one, right?
Not yet, because just first time the question is just asked me that would we want to add the one new to the system or not?
Okay, my bad. Oh yes, yeah. But actually, when you add it, you're gonna adjust the chip.
Yeah.
Add chip to another one, right?
So the question is that make us to increase the capacity to 150%. Which that we will increase the chip, but at this stage we haven't increased any chip. Just consider whether we have to add only on.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, okay, my bad. But actually, when you increase this, right, let's think that when you try to do that, you need to balance for each machine, right? So in order to make it very close together, you're gonna add some more chip for the rest of the that's okay. And when you do the next one, yes, we're gonna have like what we call Melanger. It's quite another one. You should buy another machine, right? Right, and also you're gonna adjust some chip to others, right? Yeah. But I'm not sure about the molding, but it's okay. But actually, it would be good if you try to compare all the costs.
In the case study, there is no mention about the cost.
No. I mean, cost of the machine with the benefit that you're gonna get if you increase about the capacity, something like that. Okay, you're gonna say that. Okay, actually, you should add more capacity. Right? Okay. The third question is good, right? One or two things that I would like to add on is about if you run the capacity just like this. In the real world, you can have the problem of shortage of the labor or material or downtime that's gonna happen to your machine because sometimes you run 24 hours, something like that. Okay, it's good. And one thing that you can see from the case study of the capacity and the bottleneck case study is that you try to fix one bottleneck. Once you fix this one, you can have another one happen. When you fix this one, maybe you can have another two happen, something like that. So the process never ends. Right, so this is kind of the real situation. But it's good. I appreciate that the job that you have done. So okay, thank you for this program. Okay, that's it for today. Next week, we're gonna study the quality control. Okay, we're gonna have case study of Toshiba notebook, right? Hints that if you look at the case study, you can see something that is not that similar to our example, right? Because actually we try to arrange the product layout based on the label, the job that they were going to do from others. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you for your attention. Okay, see you next week. This point is because you always follow E-dog. No, E-dog. It's simple when it gets to here. Maybe you read it today. Yeah. It's simple when it gets to here. Actually, this is fine. This one just used to find. I think they're gonna ask you to think what is the design output rate that you want, the maximum and minimum. But to find maximum and minimum, you have to understand the whole process and define what is the minimum cycle time. So what? I mean, if you're the one that goes inside, does that mean when he has the exam, you have a different answer? I think we're gonna have to fix something for us. First of all, set up the station, working stations, and tell the cycle time of this station with that kind of the scenario is gonna be only one. You go through the textbook. Did you